Hey, Chef James, and I'm happy to be sharing this incredible recipe that is something that will be a perfect example of what you will experience in the Vital Vegan for Every Season, which is a seasonal course I have contributed to the Vegan Health Food Bundle or Health Bundle. And in this course, I will be doing 2 recipes in the spring, 2 in the summer, 2 in the fall, and 2 in the winter. And these will be seasonal, fresh from the farm, the farmer's market, the CSA box, whatever it might be, and spontaneous. I love teaching gourmet, raw food, and whole food plant-based recipes, and I've been doing it for a long time now. And I go live in my chef program almost every week of the year with my students from around the world. I have over 3,000 students, but what I have found is that people on social media have always said, I want to take part in some of your live seasonal kind of things you do throughout the year. And so that's why I put together something for this bundle where 2 times in each season through the year, you'll be able to experience that with me. So this bundle package is incredible. Enjoy this live demo that I filmed last spring, a seasonal demo that is Vietnamese spring rolls with a sweet and sour mango sauce and a sunflower ginger garlic sauce. 2 wonderful sauces to go with a Vietnamese wrap. I know you'll enjoy it, and I'll have a few more things to say at the end of it about the upcoming bundle package or the current bundle package that you should be checking out. We are definitely in the throes of spring, and in some places, summer. Where it's getting hot very early this year. There's plenty of abundance coming from the farmers markets. So today I'm going to do Vietnamese spring rolls with 2 of my favorite sauces and my favorite way to combine different elements that you'll find in your spring farmers market. They're a great thing to do with people as a hands-on experience. Once you get to know how to put them together, you can invite your friends to make their own, and you just get all the mise en place, as you'll see that we're going to do here, together, and everyone can create their own wrap. And that way they can, put more spicier things in or whatever they want in their own wrap. And it's also great for kids. Now, this is a good one to get the children in and involved and to get them to eat things they may not want to consider eating if they didn't have a hand in creating it. There's a succession of things that need to marinate and soften up. So I'm going to back up here and talk about kelp noodles first. I like kelp noodles, and any way you can bring in seaweed into your diet also is a great bioavailable way to have iodine coming into your diet. These are those, they look like glass noodles, okay? Like these Asian glass noodles, and they are just kelp that is pulverized and put in through this pasta machine and made into this kind of pasta stuff. But if you've ever bought these, these are very rubbery. If you put these in like this into your mouth and try and chew them, it's kind of crunchy, rubbery, not tender, not the way you would want them if you're going to be eating them. So what I do is take a little bit of lemon juice and pour that on there because it's an acid, right? And acids help to break things down. And then we have some boiling water and just pour that over the noodles. The water's going to go back into this pot later. And then you can salt this, and it will also expedite it, although I'm going to use that same water back in here for my soup. And so I'm not going to put salt in it per se, because I don't want a lot of salt in my soup, because it's going to be a miso soup. But I can definitely put in some organic shoyu or tamari and just put that on them and set them aside. Now, by the time we go to make these wraps, those can be filling in the wrap, but I want them tenderized. Then I'm going to make sauces, and then the mise en place that comes together to roll the wraps up. So this first sauce is one of my favorites, and this one is kind of a template I have that you can take in a lot of different directions. It's a sweet and sour sauce, and that's one of my favorites. When I was a kid and we would go to Chinese restaurants, I always loved the sweet and sour sauce. When I found out a super healthy way to make sweet and sour sauce, I fell in love with it. So I'm making a mango-based sweet and sour sauce. Now, this same recipe I call it my stone fruit sweet and sour sauce, to tell you the truth, because you could use peach, you could use nectarine, you could use mango, you can use plums. When the plums come on in spring, the sweet and sour plum sauce might be my favorite of any version of this that I make. So any stone fruit will work for this. It has the sweet, the sour, the spicy that you think of when you are wanting to experience a good Asian sauce. I peeled down the side cheeks on the mango, and this is those little champagne mangoes that are really, I love these. And it's the season for mangoes in the spring. If you go down to Todos Santos area, where I went to yoga teacher training, the whole town is just lined with mango trees everywhere. And they fully encourage everyone to pick them because there's so many of them that they become a problem with the rats in town, the rodents, because they're dropping all over the ground. So you see people down there with huge baskets filling up on these mangoes. They're just everywhere. It's like one of the wonderful bonuses of living in that town. So I'm just filleting the skin off the mango. I just do that by inserting a chef knife and just sliding it all the way around, and then you just get the skin off, just like you've skinned some fish or something. And you have your fresh mango ready to go. These were those parts of the mango down the side of the pit. Very easy to slide the skin off those as well. So that's our mango part. Like I said, that could be any stone fruit, peach, nectarine, plums, that kind of stuff. Not avocado. I'm not talking about this. That won't work for the sweet and sour. But any of those stone fruits that are in that sweet category work beautifully. Usually want to give it a little heat. I like Fresno chilies. I do have one left, but I also got one of those little bell chilies. Red works great for this because it becomes a beautiful orange color, the sweet and sour. So I didn't choose green chilies. You could put them in if you want, but you're going to have kind of a yellowish green sweet and sour sauce. I like the color. Color counts in food. And so I'm going to take and put a Fresno chili in there, and nope, not going to put that one. Sometimes you open up chilies and there's a little bit of mold inside, and that's why you buy extras. So it is going to be the red bells this time. And I'm not sure how hot these are. It's just the only choice there was of red chilies at the organic little co-op I was at coming back through Eureka. And so I'm going to take and try, because the only way you'll know with a pepper is to take just a tiny bit and eat it. Even more mild than the Fresnos. Just a little bit of heat, which is perfect. That means I can serve this one to kids and it will be no problem. And just throw that in there. There's a few seeds left inside there, but I don't care because these are not super hot peppers. And we're going to blend it up. If you want to adjust the heat, of course you can always put in some cayenne. And I'm going to put in a little bit because I like a sweet and sour and spicy sauce. This is actually my sweet, sour, and spicy sauce. That's the name of it. So I'm just going to put a little pinch of cayenne in there as well, since I know those were not super hot red peppers. Then I'm going to put in a little bit more sweetness here, just a little bit of coconut sugar. It is a sweet, sour, and spicy sauce, and just a little bit of maple syrup. Both of those, if you didn't have one of them, you could just skip. I just have 2 different layers of that kind of sweetener going in, and then the sour, of course. So we have a 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice going in there as well, and that'll give us our sour for the sweet and sour. And I'm going to put a little bit of lime also in there. Let me get a fork out here. Give that a poke. I like the complexity of putting in lemon and lime together in something like this instead of just going with lemon. Lime has its own wonderful flavor palette in the sour range. And then some red onion. And that definitely takes this more into the savory umami area. So we're not just making a sweet and spicy smoothie, So put the onion in there to take it into that savory category. And then we have the sweet, the sour, and the heat, okay, to make a wonderful sauce. A little bit of garlic is going to go in. Don't have to put too much. This isn't a garlic sauce. This is a sweet and sour spicy sauce, but this is also in that category of umami and bringing in some drama that takes it out of the smoothie zone. So I wouldn't put too much. I'm just cutting the end off there. Put that in my soup stock. Over there. And a little bit of ginger. Okay. And I'm not going to trim this one with a spoon. Sometimes I do. I'm just going to take majority of the skin off and then just throw it in there. This is getting blended up a lot, so I don't have to worry too much about the skin. And since I'm making soup stock today, cleaning out my fridge because I'm about to move, so I'm definitely doing soup stock. Okay, ginger in there. That's it. That's our sweet and sour sauce. It's ready to go. Already smells wonderful. Get a spoon and get a little flavor balancing here. So good. I could have this on salad. I could have it on this is just a great thing to have in the fridge if you like making wraps. So that's it. Super easy, super nice and tasty. I didn't put any salt in here. Some people like to. I don't really think it needs it because it has the drama of the spiciness and the sour and the sweet, and then the garlic and onion and stuff going on. I think this is definitely one sauce that has enough drama going on that you don't need to worry about putting some salt in there. This one is the dipping sauce. This is the one that you know, as you're eating a spring roll or something, you have your little bowl that they serve you at the restaurant, some sauce, and you're dipping it in there with each bite. I love that. And you can pour it on or dip it or whatever you want. So I think of that as the dipping sauce. And then when I'm making wraps, I like to have a thick sauce on the inside so that, you know, you have a nice, wonderful, because it's all about the sauce. Everything's about the sauce, right? In different regions of Asia, there's different versions of like peanut sauces. I discovered how much I really do appreciate a really good organic sunflower butter. And that's made with sunflower seeds. So this is sunflower butter here, just like peanut butter, creamy sunflower butter, and it was a roasted one. And so that's going to be the base of our Vietnamese peanut sauce. For this one, we'll use the microplane because I'm not going to blend. So we'll just take our garlic and microplane it in there. I want it really fine, so I'm not using the garlic press. That would be chunky. I don't want chunks of garlic in there. I want the really fine puree of garlic. This time, because I'm grating it the way I am, I will use a spoon. This is the ginger, and the quickest way to get skin off of ginger is just to take a spoon and run it around there, because you can get around each one of the little nobules on there without wasting a bunch of ginger, so that you have plenty to grate. Just put your microplane right on your bowl, and you can just, with wide swipes of your ginger or garlic, fairly quickly and easily microplane that down into a really fine puree. And this will prevent any of those strings that can happen with ginger as well. Just tap this. I try not to bang the metal on glass bowls, so I try to hit it on here. Because, I mean, I don't bang that hard, but having learned as an instructor at the culinary school, we had a lot of glass bowls, and people would take those microplanes and bang them really hard on the bowls and chip the glass, and then you got to throw everything away and start again. Then we're going to put in a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of maple syrup is going in there, and then some saltiness with some organic shoyu. In this case, that's what I had in the cupboard. That could be tamari as well. A little instant blender here. Knock that garlic and ginger down into there and blend this up. And this is that easy. There's really, you can, if this is super thick, depending on the nut butter that you use, you could add a little bit of water to it, and it's fine. It doesn't hurt it to add water in there. But I want it really thick. So if I was going to make this, to put it maybe like on pasta, this would be great on pasta, by the way. as a side dish, even on these kelp noodles. If you're making a little side salad, this peanut sauce on kelp noodles, killer. Put some diced cucumber in there and some fresh garlic and stuff and toss it together. Perfect for a little side dish. And maybe you want it a little thinner, then you would add more water in, but I want it really thick, like this is, because I'm putting it across the wrap. I don't want it to be squirting down someone's shirt as they're eating the wrap, right? But we want the flavor throughout the wrap. So we don't want a runny sauce. That'd be more for dipping. We want something we can coat the inner leaf, as you'll see, with when we make our wrap, okay? And now we can get our mise en place going. Mise en place, of course, means everything in its place, the culinary term for just getting everything ready so that you can wrap up your wraps really quick. Got some beautiful carrots from the farmer's market that I stopped at in Arcata. I washed these off, and I'm not going to worry about, they're not really that dirty, so I'm not going to peel the skin off. You could. I really don't think I need to. And I'm using my julienne peeler, okay? You could just use, you've seen how I do carrot ribbons for pasta and stuff, but just a straight one, and that works great for these as well. Maybe I'll show you both, actually. If I just go really fast with a straight peeler, I get this effect, which works great for wraps. So that works, and that's a quick and easy way to get your carrot ready, and it's kind of a nice way to put it in there. It really does work well too. But I also like making long julienne strips out of the carrot, and that would be the little peeler with the teeth. Either of these work great, and this one creates those long strings of carrot. Either of these are fantastic for Asian wraps, and you just get different looks when you cut through the wrap on the side. You're thinking, well, why, who cares? Why don't you just choose one and go with it? Well, I just want to show you different options for the look of your wraps. Because I cut my wraps, as you'll see in the end, on a bias. So there's a lot of presentation of the filling inside. There's a very different look of this when you cut it versus lined up thin strips of carrot, which you'll just see the cut ends of them, which looks cool in the wrap too. So either one of these can work for what you want to do with your carrots. And or daikon, same thing. Daikon's just like a big long carrot. So treat it the same. I actually, with the daikon, I do love using the julienne peeler and making it into strips, just like I did with the carrot. And I had a daikon in my hand at the market, and then I was just talking. I always talk with the produce people that are there, and this guy was saying, "Have you ever tried these?" And I said, "Not really. I haven't done much with those." And this is a black radish, and he talked me into getting this. And I always want to try something different. So now I got to figure out, what am I going to do with this? And so let's just figure that out. This I will peel. It's just white on the inside, but it has a very black skin on it. And he said he really enjoys these, raw or cooked. They're a little meatier than a radish, not quite as juicy, but he said they can work really well for what I'm making here. And so let's take and peel that off. I'll just use my potato peeler here and get that black skin off there. And then you could use a chef knife and cut this into julienne strips, or you could use the julienne peeler and make it go faster, just like you saw me doing with the carrot. So let's just see how spicy it is. Oh, that's very interesting. It's got a very unique radish flavor. I like it. It's very good, but not too spicy. Maybe it would be easier if we do that, just so we have an edge here. It's not a long carrot, so it's a little trickier. But I'm going to just try and create some julienne strips here. If you have a mandolin with a julienne blade on it, that would be the easiest thing here, because you can just slide this along in the mandolin, right, and get the long strips like I'm getting right here. And I'll put that on our plate as well. So we're just getting this beautiful little plate here of selections, and then we can quickly put the wrap together. And this is what you would do on platters if you're having a party. And people could come in and go, "Ooh, I want some of that, I want some of that," and just go around and grab different things. This is radish sprouts with these beautiful pink stems on them. I like to have a trifecta of herbs in Vietnamese wraps especially. I want mint, I want basil, and I want cilantro, all of them. And I think they all do this trifecta of when I eat a wrap and it has those three in it, I think Vietnamese wrap. Because they love those, and mint and basil especially play together really well. Luckily, I was able to find all of them at the co-op and then the farmer's market where I stopped yesterday. So I'm just taking the larger of the basil leaves. And if you remember from knife skills, chiffonade is where you take a dark leafy green, any kind, and roll it up, kind of like a little cigar, and then do a cross slice on it and you end up with long ribbons. So that's what we'll do with this. Roll it up lengthwise and do a tight bundle like so. And then just take your chef knife and chiffonade. Okay, and they have our basil ready to go. Then I have mint, and this is from a local farmer that I saw there, and really interesting. It's called apple mint. You know, they have all these like pineapple mint and all these different, it's called apple mint, but I really loved, took a piece off and ate it and thought, wow, that's wonderful. Love that flavor. Any mint will do, but I happen to have apple mint today. So I'm going to do the same thing. Take off some of these bigger leaves here, chiffonade them. So I rolled up those mint leaves and do a quick chiffonade on them. And actually I'm going to turn and do a little bit of a mince to that one. The mint I don't put as predominantly. I like a little bit of the mint throughout the wrap in the background, but I don't definitely put as much of like basil. I'll put a lot of, and cilantro, and then a little bit of mint. Okay, so I've chopped the mint down a little further, just so it's in littler mints, and I can spread it out throughout the wraps. So we'll take some cilantro. I'm going to chop the stems off and put that in my soup stock, and then just mince this up. Just bunch it up tight. And I'll just do one good pass through there. I don't want to, you know how I've always explained that if you over mince on herbs, they get bitter. I like the sweet, wonderful flavor of cilantro in its full leaf form. So one pass through that, perfect. We've got our cilantro, our mint, our basil, our radish, and our carrot ready to go. I love the freshness of cucumber in wraps. To me, I almost don't want to do them if I can't find a cucumber. I love that fresh, sweet juiciness of biting into a wrap and having that cucumber hit your mouth. Okay? And there's a number of different ways you can do them. I'm not going to get super fancy here. I could sheet one, but that would take too much time with this class. And that's where you peel the skin off. And actually, I'm going to peel the skin off regardless of, even for what I'm going to show you, I'll peel it off. It's too bitter for this and tough to eat. So we'll very quickly just take that off. And if I was going to sheet this, you basically do this long fillet. And if you've ever been at a super fancy sushi restaurant, you'll see someone sometimes doing sheeting of cucumber. And then they actually use it in the same way you would use a nori sheet. They just held their knife like this, and they're just very good at getting a thin sheet off there. And as they cut around, this total sheet of cucumber rolls, and that you can lay in a wrap, and you have a nice wall of cucumber all the way around the wrap. Well, I'm not going to take the time to do that. You could use that peeler, although it's so watery. It's not like root vegetable. I don't think the julienne peeler works as well. So I'm going to suggest that you just cut it right down the middle and de-seed it. You want to get those seeds out. So just take a spoon and run it down your cucumber. Just cut it into long julienne strips. These, unlike what I was talking about with cilantro, don't end up pulling out of the wrap and dangling down your mouth as you eat it, because cucumber is so soft, when you take a bite, it just bites right off. I like to have some scallions in there. I'm a fan of that for sure. These are already washed off, so I'm just going to take 2 scallions here. And I think about the layers of flavors when you're eating a wrap. And we have the sweet of the carrot, the spicy of the radish, and then we have some herb stuff going on and the nice juiciness of cucumber, different layers of flavors so that we have that kind of onion kind of flavor in there. And same thing on these. I had students that would think they're going to be all gourmet and fancy, and they cut their green onions into long strings and put them in the wrap. Same thing. You're going to eat it, you're going to be wearing green onion string down your shirt. So no, don't do that. So I'm just going to do a bias cut. You know how I am. I'm biased about that. Not to be punny, but I like green onions cut on the bias. So, and they're in a wrap, so who's going to see them? But it's just a James thing. I just do a bias cut. So that's what it is. And I'm cutting all the way down. I love the greens in green onions. And some people discard the greens and only eat the white. But actually more of the beautiful flavor of green onions, I believe, does come from the greens, for sure. I'm going to put some of those aside, right over here with that, for my soup. I love them on top of my miso soup, which we're also going to make with this. Okay, so now we have our green onions ready to go too. If you're doing a quick dinner party and you had it's springtime, you have a lot of stuff like that, putting together practicing your knife skills and putting together a platter of some fun stuff is easy and fun to do. And just put a damp towel, a tea towel or something over it once you get it all sliced up before the party. And you can set it in the fridge or something to keep it all fresh so the herbs don't oxidize before the party. Okay, paper towel, or I'd say a kitchen tea towel. I don't like to waste paper. And you're ready to go on that. So you've got plenty of choices there of things to put in your wrap. Now you can do these kind of wraps with just the classic rice paper, and I am going to use the rice paper. But I feel that it's kind of hard to bite into it. These can be kind of rubbery when you're biting the wrap off. And it really helps if I've found right next to that skin, you have some greens. So I got some collards, okay? And I'm going to use that collard green in the wrap. That's a good size right there. Now collards are a little tough. Let me turn this water down a little bit. I'm boiling it away here. Back to the collard. So this stem in these is kind of stiff and hard to deal with in a wrap, right? But we can fix that. We can remedy that. So I look at the rice paper and think, oh, okay, it's going to be about there. I know where to cut this off. And then just trim off the end of your collard. That can go in my soup stock. And I've got this nice round collard leaf to use here, right? But it has this stem on it that's really thick. So either with a paring knife, if that's how you feel more safe, put your finger on the stem, on the top side of the leaf, because the bottom side is where the stem pops up more and in the ridge, right? So your finger on the top side, flip it over, take your knife, and you're not cutting down in, you're cutting at an angle, right? Being very mindful, not talking to anyone else, watching what you're doing. Steady your thumb here, but so you can just lay it down and start sliding your chef knife. See how it's just slowly, and you can do a little seesaw motion back and forth if you need to. And if you're just attentive and don't rush it, you can trim that stem off all the way. When you get to the end, you can just finish it off like that. Now, this is totally flexible. It's not going to snap. That stem was so thick that it would have broke the leaf and not rolled up nicely in our wrap. If you have edible flowers growing in the yard, grab some of those too. Like pansies or borage, anything like that, the beautiful purple flowers or yellow flowers and things. Then you can make some really gorgeous wraps, okay? And that'll come into play shortly. But on collards, they I think they're a little bit tough to eat because they're in that kind of broccoli, brassica kind of family on the gut. I like to give them a blanch. And so I am going to put this in the hot water over here, but I'm going to let that sit for a second and soften up. And then I'm going to grab a pie plate real quick because I need some water to dip this into. I just put some tepid water in that. It doesn't have to be hot. Don't use hot. Just not super hot or cold water. And just get that ready to dip your rice wraps in. So I'll move some of this stuff aside and put our mise en place right here. And we can roll some wraps. You can either use a board like this to prevent it, or if you are going to roll on a wooden cutting board, soak your wooden cutting board in water because these stick to wood. When you lay them down, you dip them in here and then put them on here and start building them. Then you go to pick it up off the bamboo and now it's glued because the bamboo sucks the water out of the wrap and it gets attached to the bamboo board and you can't finish rolling your wrap. So got that ready to go. Let's just set it down here. And you don't have to go in too long. So just go in here and let it spin it all the way around so that it gets wet on all sides. And then you got to work fairly quick. Once you have this dipped, you're on a mission because it'll get too soggy and it won't work if you take your time. Be dedicated. In other words, once you know you're going to go in there and do it, go for it. So the next thing is going to be that sauce. And we want to go all the way across the wrap because every bite you want to have some sauce, right? So let's take that yummy sunflower ginger garlic sauce and spread it all the way across the wrap. Right down through the middle of it before we start stacking other stuff on. And do this first. You don't want to do it last. Now, I mentioned that if you have some edible flowers, go out and find them. Before I put the collard down on here, put those flowers on here facing outward. Then when you roll the wrap up, you're going to have flowers all the way down it. Does that make sense? So you have the dark green and then the flowers right in front of it. And so it really looks beautiful on your finished wrap. In fact, I can show you a little bit of that kind of effect. We'll just create some kind of design on the other side with some of these beautiful sprouts that I got with little purple stems on them. Just to show you how you can get creative as to what will be presented in your finished wrap visually. Okay, so we put that down. Then we can just go around and start deciding what we want to fill our wrap in with. And I'll turn around and grab my softened noodles here as well. Now these are really tender, really tender. If you could feel them, you would know what I mean. Very different feeling than the ones that came out of this package, okay? They're ready to go. Okay, and then I can put some of I like to have kelp noodles in there. I think it's a fun textural thing to add into the wraps. Speaking of being friendly to your guests, these are in the same category as cilantro. So you could, if you want to be making it easier for them to eat these, just pick up your kelp noodles and slice them up a little bit because they're long when you take them out of the package. Slice them up so they're shorter, easier to eat, and not wear them down your beautiful dress or whatever as you're eating. Okay. And I'm going left to right or right to left, however you want to think of it, across the wrap in strips with everything that I'm putting in here. Some cucumber strips there and all of my herbs, a good amount of basil. Love the flavor of basil in these. A little bit of mint all the way across. And a little bit of cilantro. Actually, more cilantro. I like equal amounts of cilantro and basil in there. And then some green onion. And make sure you get some all the way across so that every bite of the wrap will have some of that in it. Now, you also could, if you had extra mango, put mango in. I do love that. If I've got some big mangoes, I would have cut some long julienne strips of mango and put it in here. I actually enjoy mangoes in a wrap as well. Now I'm going to do this, it's the okay thing, because we're going to pinch and wrap. And these are our grabbers, right? And these are our pinchers. Same thing in sushi. So I've picked up the rice paper with my two thumb and index fingers, and then these fingers get to tidy everything in and gather it towards me as I bring this up and around, and then I can get a nice tight roll, okay? So just remember, it's this when you go to wrap, whether you're doing sushi or spring rolls. And it naturally locks right onto itself as you turn it around, and you're finished. And you can see that on the top of this one, there is these purple Daikon that I put across there on the outside of the leaf. So there's our wrap, and then just rinse and repeat and keep going and going and going until you have all your wraps made. And you can have a variety of different things ready in them. I got this beautiful butter lettuce from the same farmer's market. And in these ones, I'm going to put in one other favorite ingredient that I forgot on the first one. And I'll show you that. So let's dip and spin it around. I go around about twice. And then I'm ready to roll. And I can put usually takes two of these, so I point them outward so that what hangs out the end of the wraps is that beautiful colored ends of the leaf. Put our sauce on. The thing I forgot, that over in my colander, I had bought some mung bean sprouts, which I love in Asian wraps. Okay, so I get those as well, and it's very important that they be organic to me. And I love it that they have organic mung bean sprouts. I love mung bean sprouts, and I put a healthy amount of mung bean sprouts in there. Now, cucumber alongside that. Let's do the ribbon carrot in this one, just to change it up. Some of those Daikon sprouts, some mint, green onions, cilantro. Do the OK symbol. Index and thumb, grab that leaf and the edge of your rice paper, then use those other fingers to gather and tighten up your leaves so that you can bring that rice paper all the way around. And your fingers just have to do the busy work of keeping all those kids in there as you come around the corner, because they're trying to escape. That's a big one. I like this one for wraps. Made by me, of course, on my potter's wheel. And I do a bias cut. You know how I am on that. Not straight, because then there's not much to show. And if you turn the knife and do a bias, now you have long oval depictions of all the filling inside. So it's just more beautiful to lay it on the platter that way and see all of your beautiful ingredients that are inside the wrap. Okay, let's do that one on that side, and I'll put this one on the other side. See what I mean about how you can see, and if that was just a straight across, you'd only have a little picture of the inside. Now we have a much bigger side oval sliced view of the wrap. Arrange them however you want on there. Let's put some mint, get some little sauce bowls. Found these at a thrift store. These little fishes. And now we have our dipping sauce, of course, that wonderful sweet and sour sauce, and the peanut sauce, or sunflower sauce in this case, in case anyone wanted more of that to go with their wrap. And they're ready to serve. That's it. Now you could also create some other little, like if I have extra Fresno chilies, I would microdice them and put them in a little pinch bowl in case someone wanted to put some more hot chilies on their wrap if they wanted it a little spicier. There we have springtime Vietnamese wraps with 2 different sauces. By no means is this the only thing you can put in these. Of course, you could do marinated tofu, different things like that. Tempeh, if you wanted to put a little more protein into there. In my case, I'm going to put the rest of these in here, the kelp noodles, and I'm going to put red miso in there. I saved some scallions for the top, and I'm going to put in some sprouted tofu in just little cubes. And that's the soup that I'm going to have alongside of this for a meal. So I'm doing a miso soup, basically, and with the kelp noodles and some tofu in there and some scallions. And I could put some, if there's any extra mise en place, why not? Make it a little pho, a little soup. You know, you can use up your extra little mise en place and put it in your miso soup to have alongside your wraps. There's your full meal deal, sauces included, for a great spring meal. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful recipe. I know it's one that I really love, and especially in the spring, I love serving it when everything is fresh and in season. This is the kind of thing you will experience in the Vital Vegan for Every Season that's a part of the bundle package. In addition to that, of course, in the bundle package, you have over 150 other courses, books, contributions from doctors, from nutritionists, from chefs, from vegan influencers, from all around the world, lifestyle stuff, exercise, everything you can imagine. I don't know why anyone would not jump in and spend $49, the cost of going out to dinner for one night, and get this huge package that will literally take you over 2 years to work through. Minimum. I'm telling you, there's that many recipes, that many courses, that much material. Do yourself a favor and click the link and go see the bundle package. Just click and go to the website and scroll down. You're going to be amazed. And I think you'd be a fool, personally, to not whip out a credit card, get that $49 bundle package, and start a huge life-changing adventure. And you will see that a whole food, plant-based, and the best of raw, and in my case, I bring them both together, so this package is just wonderful for me because it's got both in there, is something that you're going to love and is going to change your life. Don't hesitate to jump in and buy this and share it with your friends. Get people to check out this bundle and buy it, because the minute it's over, they're going to come back to my Culinary Academy, which I fully recommend that they do, and they're going to buy that same Vital Vegan for Every Season for $295, and they can get for $49 full access to that course and everything else in the bundle package. So you can see this is a no-brainer. Just do it. It'll change your life.